What's up everyone, Darcblade here bringing you my top 5 games of 2012. It's only top 5 this year because I didn't actually pick up as many games as I would have liked to, at least not enough to make a top 10, and thus I'm only making a top 5. Unfortunately, there are some games that probably should be on this list, such as XCOM or Dishonored, but for one reason or another, I have not got round to playing them, or playing them enough to make a good call on whether they should be in the top 5 or not. Anyway, this is my top 5 games of 2012, starting with number 5, Black Ops 2. Developed by Treyarch and published by Activision, Black Ops 2 was released November 13th worldwide and had great success on its launch day. Black Ops 2 is the direct sequel to the original Black Ops, which was released 2 years ago. The story mainly focuses on David Mason, son of Alex Mason, who was the protagonist in the first original Black Ops. Now, like every Call of Duty game, the campaign is not necessarily the main part of the game. They're normally quite wafer-thin storylines that kind of keep you tied over. But with Black Ops 2, I actually thoroughly enjoyed the story. Like Black Ops 1, there are a lot of plot twists that kept me playing. However, like every single Call of Duty before this, the main part was the multiplayer, and Black Ops 2 is no different, although it does evolve a lot of aspects of the multiplayer. Score streaks, creator class points, the way you play domination as well as other game types, this has all been evolved and is nicely balanced. It all feels quite good. With previous Call of Duties, I've kind of drifted off from the multiplayer, but with Black Ops 2, like Black Ops 1, I am still playing it and enjoying myself. After this, you have Zombies mode, which is better than it ever has been before in my opinion, means that Call of Duty Black Ops 2 is my number 5 game of 2012. Now the number 4 spot goes to Transformers Fall of Cybertron. Published by Activision and developed by High Moon Studios, Fall of Cybertron was released August 21st and August 24th, depending where you lived in the world. The game is a direct sequel to Transformers War for Cybertron. It follows off in the footsteps that game left us. Basically, Cybertron is dying, and the Autobots want to evacuate and find a new home, whilst the Decepticons kind of just want to find more energon to keep the planet going. This game is an entire prelude to how the Transformers came to Earth, so it will give you some idea about what was going on before they actually landed on Earth. Overall, I love the story. I love this game, though I may be a bit biased. That's why it's not higher on my list, because as a kid I was a huge Transformers fan. Also, Transformers Fall of Cybertron and War for Cybertron are highly stylized and influenced by the 80s cartoon, which was what was on at the time and what got me into Transformers as a kid. Add to this great story a solid multiplayer mode that includes competitive and cooperative modes, makes Transformers Fall of Cybertron my number 4 game of 2012. Now my number 3 slot goes to Assassin's Creed 3. Developed and published by Ubisoft, Assassin's Creed 3 was released October 30th and October 31st. The game came with a lot of hype. This is because Ubisoft had developed a new engine in which Connor, the new protagonist who replaced Ezio, can now free run very smoothly when compared to the previous games. Combat was enhanced and it all looked great. Basically, it was a stunning game to look at, and it played wonderfully as well. However, for my opinion, the story was a little bit lackluster when compared to other Assassin's Creed games out there. However, this didn't dampen my spirits when it came to Assassin's Creed 3 because it was a wonder and a joy to play, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Add to that, the multiplayer was back with a new co-op mode called Wolfpack. It really did enhance and make the multiplayer experience that much better. Overall, Assassin's Creed 3 was probably the best Assassin's Creed game gameplay wise. Unfortunately, because the story held it back, means that Assassin's Creed 3 only gets my number 3 spot in my games of 2012. Now my number 2 spot goes to Mass Effect 3. Now before you fly off the handle, for anyone who hates Mass Effect 3 out there, I am not judging the game solely on the ending. I am judging the entirety of the game. That includes how I felt up until the end, as well as the multiplayer and how the actual game played. Mass Effect 3 was published by EA and developed by BioWare. It was released March 6 and March 8, depending where you lived in the world. The game concludes the Mass Effect trilogy that has been running for some years now, so there has been quite a bit of hype building up to this game. And for the most part it does deliver, in my opinion. Granted, the ending caused a lot of controversy and is, shall we say, a little bit lackluster when you compare it to the overall epicness of the Mass Effect story. However, I really did enjoy the game up until the ending. The gameplay, in my opinion, was smooth and I had no troubles with it at all, even when playing with a console. I really enjoyed the multiplayer. I know some people will say it was a little bit of a tacked-on mode, but I really did get into it and I really got the most out of it. I'm still playing it to this day. So, basically, at the end of the day, if Mass Effect 3 had a slightly better ending, and granted they did give us the extended cut with no additional cost, that helped a little bit. If it did have that perfect ending, Mass Effect 3 would have definitely been my game of the year. But instead, it gets the number 2 slot in my top 5 games of 2012. Now, the number 1 slot, the final game, the biggest game that I enjoyed the most of 2012, is Borderlands 2. Published by 2K Games and developed by Gearbox Studios, Borderlands 2 was released on the 18th, 20th and 21st of September this year. It is also a direct sequel to the original Borderlands. Now, the original Borderlands had some criticism of being a lackluster story, which seems to be a common thing in games these days. But with Borderlands 2, I actually really got involved and I felt I was part of a story, an overall story that was going on. And this was sorely needed in the Borderlands franchise, in my opinion. It also returned with the great gameplay that we had already known from the original Borderlands. It added more weapons, more customization to your characters, better skill trees, and just generally improved on every aspect of the Borderlands franchise. The art style and the voice acting of the characters was superb, and one of the reasons why it's got the position it has in my little list here. The only real criticism of Borderlands 2 that I have is that if you played in public matches online, then there is a chance that you had your loot stolen. This could have been done better, but if you played with people you know, friends, or even played split screen with someone in the same house, it meant that you will get a absolutely fantastic time playing this game. In my opinion, this game is awesome, and that is why it gets my number 1 game of 2012. I would love to hear what your personal top 5 games of 2012 were, so leave a comment down below. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little list, hope you enjoy the holidays, and I hope you have a great 2013. Anyway, until next time, I've been Darcblade, bringing you my top 5 games of 2012. Also, wishing you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.